explore every part of Eve. That's just me personally.
Yeah.
But I've not only just jumped through every system, but just experience all the different things.
Yeah.
And I've got
Yeah.
an alt at the moment. Sorry, you have to go.
Yeah,
Sure.
we are told the presentation is about to start. Thank you for coming.
Anyway, thank you.
See you in Australia.
Indeed. Thank you.
Bye.
Quick bit about me. I've been with CCP since June of 2012. I've been a player since August of 2003, though. So I've played EVE for quite a bit, joined CCP, worked on EVE for a bit, and now I'm on the Dust project. And I'm going to kill someone. Cameron, the disadvantage of storing your presentation on a network drive that everyone has access to. Before we dig into what Planetary Conquest is, how it works, I quickly want to go over sort of where Dust is at right now in terms of what you can do for battles. So we have two types of battles, the instant battles, and these are very casual. You can join them at any time, drop at any time. There's nothing wrong with leaving aside from your teammates hating you. But there's no link with EVE. They take place on high-sec planets, but there's no consequences, there's no effects. On top of instant battles, we then have the corporation battles. These are more of a challenge. The people in them are more organized. It's a higher risk, higher reward. They're a lot less common, though. Generally speaking, you have very few corporation battles. However, they do influence factional warfare. What districts you own, it changes how easily EVE players can take systems. And you get orbital strikes, again, upping the challenge. So, if we make that into a picture, we end up with something like this. EVE is the bar on the right, of course, Dust on the left. Pretty straightforward. I'm going to come back to this picture a few times. Planetary Conquest. What did we want out of it? Why were we looking at doing it? We really wanted to build the link between the two games. We want there to be, we want people to care about EVE, and we want EVE players to care about Dust. We want to really strengthen that link. But we don't want to break things. We don't want to break nullsec. Nullsec's been around for a long time. There's a lot of people who do it. If we introduce this and it causes a lot of bad things to happen, nullsec players will hate us. So we wanted to start somewhere a little bit smaller. As I said, we want to increase the link. We also want to give Dust corporations and Dust players the ability to invest in something. If you saw the keynote yesterday, we talked a bit about the sand castle and the sandbox and letting you build the sand castle, and more importantly, letting other people come and tear it down. So we wanted to let you invest and build those sand castles. And we kind of wanted something that was fun, and we wanted something that was more competitive. When you give people the ability to build something and they care about it because it took them time, they'll be more likely to defend it, and they'll fight harder to defend it, which increases the competition. So again, that's the picture I showed you before. If we add Planetary Conquest into this picture, we end up with something like this. But those two spots are a little empty right now, so this presentation is going to talk about filling in those two blank spots. So I talked about what we wanted from Planetary Conquest, but how does Planetary Conquest work? What is it? All that sort of fun stuff. The basic premise of Planetary Concept is you conquer districts. They generate clones for you. You pick up some clones from one district that you own, and you move them to another district. If you own that district, it's a simple move from one district to another. Pretty awesome. If someone else owns that district, however, you start a battle, and that battle, the outcome of that battle will help determine who owns the district. So you get to expand your empire, build an empire, and invest in this. So Planetary Conquest, what is in it? There's districts. For those that are, and I'll talk more about districts. Districts exist right now in factional warfare. Districts in factional warfare, though, have one property. They have an owner. The owner, however, is not a player. It's not a player corporation. It's an NPC corporation. So that's kind of a little bit lame. We want to expand upon districts and make them a little bit more awesome. So to do that, we're giving them some more properties. And we're changing owner. Owner is now a player corporation. We're adding surface infrastructure. We're adding clones into the mix. We're adding reinforcement windows. And the districts will have different states. On top of all of this, Planetary Conquest involves, there's certain actions you can do. You can move clones, you can sell clones, you can change the surface infrastructure, things like that. There's battles, and you get bacon, or ISK. Unfortunately, we can't really give you bacon, so we give you ISK instead. So, what are districts? If you've played in Factional Warfare, or you play Dust right now in corporation battles, you probably know what districts are. But for those that are unaware, districts are, we take temperate planets and we divide them down into districts. For Planetary Conquest, we're taking one region in low security space. Specifically, we're taking the Molten Heath region, and we're taking all the temperate planets that are in low sec space in Molten Heath, and we're dividing them down into districts. A planet will have from 5 to 24 districts. It's randomized. And the districts, when you own them, they have to have an owner, will generate clones every day. The default rate is 80 clones per day. You can take these clones and do things with them, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. The districts are where the battles occur, and this is important. The districts contain surface infrastructure, and as I said, they're where battles take place. When we seed these districts into the universe, we are giving them a specific terrain. So when you play on a district and you fight for it, it will always have the same terrain. The buildings, however, will change. They'll change based on the surface infrastructure you have installed. And there's some other things with that, but we'll talk about that a little bit more later. And they have reinforcement windows, which, again, we'll talk about. So this is a screenshot from the new star map. And you'll notice in the bottom left, all of this information is public. I currently have selected the purple district, which is not one I own. I still, however, know who the owner of that district is. I know what surface infrastructure or infrastructure is on it. I know what reinforcement time they have set. I know how many clones they have. In this case, it's a production facility, so it actually generates 100 clones a day. They have 300 clones out of the 300 maximum. So we're saying 300 is how many they have, plus 100 out of 300. And this district happens to be under attack. So, the surface infrastructure. When we launch Planetary Conquest here on May 6th with Uprising, we'll be launching it with 3 different surface infrastructure. I'll talk about them in just a moment, but each surface infrastructure offers 2 bonuses. One to Dust, which will help you in Planetary Conquest, and one in Eve. And this is where we're really trying to strengthen the link between the 2 games. We want Eve players to care about this because they're getting a bonus, and we want Dust players to care because they're talking to Eve players and all that sort of stuff. You can change the surface infrastructure. So if you own the district, you've conquered it from someone, you can change what it is. However, it's 100 million ISK to do it. So it's a big investment, and once you do it, you're really going to care about keeping this district. If you change the surface infrastructure, you lock the district. And we'll talk about that in just a moment, I guess. So what are the 3 surface infrastructure that we're launching with? The first is the production facility. This will generate an extra 20 clones per day. By default, as I said, it's 80 clones a day you get. With this, you get 100 clones a day. On the Eve side, you're going to get an increase to the PI extractors on that planet. This Eve bonus is an alliance-wide bonus. So if your Dust Corporation is in an alliance, and your alliance has Eve players, if they do PI on this planet, the extractors will have a bonus. The cargo hub is the second one. This will increase the storage of clones at a district. The Eve bonus is a decrease in manufacturing time at POSes, again, alliance-wide. And actually, it's at POSes anchored to moons around that planet. So, keeping it to the planet. And the third and final one is the research lab. The research lab lets you move clones a little bit further than you can without it. On top of that, it decreases POS fuel usage. You'll notice that we've done 2 bonuses for POSes because POSes mean you have stuff in space at risk, other people can shoot it and blow it up. It's good times. So how do you make money off of Planetary Conquest? Well, as I said, the districts are generating clones, and you can sell the clones. This happens in one of 2 ways. We have a rule within Planetary Conquest. If there's any action that ever overfills a district, we sell the extra clones. And the sale of the clones goes to the corporation wallet. So if you have 300 clones at a district out of 300, and you get an extra 100 clones that day, we're automatically just going to sell the extra clones. That is a rule throughout Planetary Conquest. We always sell the extra clones. Or, if you want, you can manually sell the clones. You can sell as many clones as you want. If you sell all of the clones at a district, you abandon the district, and it's unoccupied, and anyone else can come and take it. Selling the clones locks the district. So you can change the surface infrastructure. You can sell clones. You can also move clones. And this is where things get a little bit more tricky. You have to move, when you move clones, a minimum of 150 clones. You can move as many as you want, and when I say as many as you want, up to however many you have at the district, but you have to move a minimum of 150. When you move clones, the district you're locking them to, or the district you're moving them to, sorry, if you own that district, it has to be online and not locked, basically. So if you change the surface infrastructure on a district, you can no longer move clones to it. And the district can't be under attack. You cannot move clones to your own district if it's under attack. However, if you move clones to a district you don't own, it can be locked. You can attack a locked district, but you cannot move your own clones to a locked district. When you move clones, as I said, a minimum of 150, and there's two costs associated with it. There's the ISK cost. If you move clones to the same planet, it's 3 million ISK. Every system you go beyond that first planet is an extra 500,000 ISK. The clones, again, same planet, you don't lose any clones, but every jump you go, moving clones between districts, you lose a percentage of clones. If you have the research lab, the percentage of clones lost goes down. You'll notice in this screenshot on the bottom right, I am moving clones from District 1 to District 2. I don't own District 2. So I'm doing an attack. The defending corporation, they're named Best Corp. They have 400 clones. It's going to cost me 3 million ISK. And it tells me when the battle will occur. The reinforcement window. This is a little bit of a tricky one because a lot of stuff revolves around this. The reinforcement window is something that either directors or the CEO of the Dust Corp can set. It's a 1-hour window. So in this case, 0300 to 0400. And the district, the reinforcement window is, as I said, everyone can see it. In this case, in the bottom right, I can see reinforcement window is set to 0300. The reinforcement window is when the battles will occur. So if I attack someone else's district, I will be fighting during their reinforcement window. If I change my surface infrastructure, the district is locked. It will unlock at the beginning of the reinforcement window. The beginning of the reinforcement window is when clones are generated as well. So, as I said, there's a lot that revolves around this, and we're going to dig into it a little bit more. So, going back to the locking of districts. Any change to the district, actually almost any change, will lock the district. So as I said, change the surface infrastructure, it locks the district. Districts are locked for a minimum of 24 hours, and then they unlock at the next reinforcement window. You cannot make changes to the reinforcement or to the district while it's locked. So if I've changed the surface infrastructure, I can't then immediately change the reinforcement window. I have to wait a minimum of 24 hours and then the next reinforcement window. Battles. So battles are what happen when you move clones to an enemy district, or a district you don't own. Not necessarily an enemy district, just a district you don't own. They happen during the reinforcement window. And again, the same as the locking. It's a minimum of 24 hours between launching the attack and the attack happening. And you can attack locked districts. So yes, you can attack locked districts. You cannot attack districts that are already under attack, though. So that's a little bit confusing. Let's take a quick look at an example. Timeline, pretty straightforward. I have a district. Actually, no, Cameron has a district. Nullarbor has a district. I'm attacking Nullarbor. His district has a reinforcement window of 2200, which means it's the same time every day. I come along at 1300, and I decided I'm going to attack him. So I decide I'm going to attack. I do the action of attacking. I wait. It's going to happen in 24 hours, and then the next reinforcement window. So in this case, that's like 30 hours or so to try to do the math. And again, this is the same for locking of the districts. If I make a change to my district at 1300, it's going to be locked for 24 hours and then the next reinforcement window, except instead of battle, unlock. So what happens if you attack just after the reinforcement window? Again, reinforcement window set to 2200. I attack at 2300. You wait 24 hours, and then the battle happens at the next reinforcement window. So you could be waiting upwards of almost 48 hours, depending when you launch the attack and when their reinforcement window is set. The battles themselves. The battles themselves are a little bit different than any battles that currently happen in Dust on Tranquility. In this case, the battles will be 16 versus 16, and there will be friendly fire. Importantly with friendly fire, this applies to orbital bombardments. So, yeah, you can't hide under your own. Currently, on Tranquility, with Dust, the only people that can provide orbital bombardments are those participating in factional warfare in EVE. For these battles that take place because of Planetary Conquest, anyone in your corporation or your alliance can provide friendly orbital bombardments. And the battles happen randomly within that 1 hour window that the defender selects. So the defender sets the reinforcement window to 1300 to 1400. The battle could happen at 1300, it could happen at 1310, or it could happen at 1350. So that's completely random, but we do tell you exactly when the battle will happen once you've confirmed it. So when you look at the battle finder, the time you see will be correct. So what happens? Okay, I've attacked Nullarbor. What happens when I win, because I'm better, and I win and I completely kill every clone he has? He's not very smart. He's kept spawning and spawning and spawning. I just keep killing him. Well, I get the district. He has no clones left. I get the district. I get some ISK. I get ISK based on how many clones I killed. If he had a full 400 clones and I killed all of them, I get 80,000 ISK per clone I kill. And I get loot. So the fun thing about these battles, as I said, they're a little bit different. You get loot, not randomly. You get loot based, okay, semi-randomly. You get loot based on what the other team used. And this includes Aurum items. So when you go into a battle and you use equipment, the other team is going to get 50% of that. Something to keep in mind. But as you know, I've won. I get loot based on what Nullarbor used. The defender, they've lost the district because they ran out of clones. They also, however, do get some of the loot based on what I used. What happens if I win by killing? So, actually, backing up, forgot to mention, these will be skirmish battles. So, MCC, all that sort of fun stuff. What happens if I win by killing the MCC but not killing all of their clones? I get a couple of things. I get ISK. I get loot, same as before. All of the clones I did not lose during the battle, they'll go back to the district I sent them from. So I get to keep them. I also, however, get some of the clones that Nullarbor would have gotten from his district. So when I win, I've attacked him, and I win, his district will no longer be generating clones for the next day. And I get some of those clones that he would have gotten. So the idea here is that if you have enough districts, you're comfortable, you don't want to own more districts, it should still be profitable for you to go out and attack, not to take the district, just to fight. And this is part of what we've done to help encourage that. Encourage you to go out, fight, risk some stuff, but potentially get more money. The defender, they lost, but they only lost their MCC. They didn't run out of clones. So they get to keep the district. They get loot, but they do not get any clones on the next day. And this is, so when you attack a district, you might have to go through a couple of battles. And this, the defender, if they lose, they don't get reinforcement clones, which means it's a little bit easier for you to grind them down. What happens if Nullarbor wins, though? He used some dev hacks. He won. He wins by killing my MCC. He did that yesterday during the keynote, actually. Cheated. He gets, so say I take 200 clones. He will get some of the clones that I do not lose in battle to keep for himself. I get to take no clones home, though. If I lose as the attacker, I take none of my clones home. They're all gone, either dead or to the defender. And the idea here is that we don't want you to take all of the clones you have from a district and attack with them and just ruffle stomp everybody. So the idea is that when you decide to attack, you have to make a conscious choice about how many clones do you want to take, how many clones do you need to take, and how much of a risk is it. The attacker, being me, I get loot because I still participated in the battle, but I don't get any clones back. I've lost all the clones I sent. If the defender wins by killing all of my clones before destroying the MCC, the battle's just kind of over. They keep their district. It still generates clones. They get ISK, loot, and I get a little bit of loot for participating. So that's pretty straightforward, pretty awesome. So one of the things we've done is we've added a new interface so you can easily manage all of your districts. We have a new star map. It was shown off yesterday. You can see your districts. You can manage your districts through the star map. But if you're an awesome empire, awesome corporation, and you have a lot of districts, going through the star map, finding each district, making a change might suck a little bit. So we added this to the corporation interface. If you're a director or CEO, you will see this. It will list all of your districts, and you can quickly go see them on the map, or you can make almost any action to the district from here. In this case, you can see this district, what surface infrastructure it has, the reinforcement timer, the clones, and its status. It is locked. So I showed you this picture a moment ago, and I wanted to try and fill in those blank areas just a little bit. So this is where we kind of end up. We end up with Planetary Conquest, letting you really begin to build something and invest in something. You get to build those sandcastles. More importantly, though, you get to go knock over someone else's sandcastle. There's more risk, more reward, and it's a tougher challenge. As I said, generally speaking, when people have invested in something, they care more. They'll try harder to defend it. So that kind of ups the challenge a little bit. On the Eve side of this, you're getting bonuses for owning the district. The alliance-wide, everyone can participate in the orbital bombardments, and you begin to really start to care about what your Dust players are doing, how they're doing, and what they're doing, basically. So this presents a bit of a challenge, though. We have Planetary Conquest, which are now the corporation battles. Factional warfare, we currently call them corporation battles, but that doesn't really make any sense anymore. So what are we changing with factional warfare? We are changing the factional warfare battles. On the Eve side, you're not going to notice a change at all. Eve side, the owner of the district will still have the same effect, all that sort of stuff. What we're doing is we're changing the Dust side of this. We're changing how these battles are spawned and when they happen. So currently with factional warfare, Corporation A, they spam a refresh button until they find the district they want, and then they decide to attack it, and someone can choose to defend it, and it's a little bit of a mess, and it doesn't happen very often. So what we're doing is we're changing it so that the battles are dynamically generated. We will always have a factional warfare battle that you can join. There will always be one with open player slots available. We'll spawn as many as we need to account for the number of players playing, but there will always be one for you to join. It is open to everybody. When you go to the mercenary interface, you will see all the factional warfare battles. You'll see what planet they're taking place on, and you will see like who's fighting in it, what sides, Amar, Galente, Minmatar, Caldari. When you go to join one of these matches, you can choose what side you fight for. So you select join, we'll give you a little menu, this side or that side, and you get to choose. There will still be orbital strikes, just like in the current version, and it's open to the faction warfare pilots. Where we choose to generate these battles is based on where plexes are being run in Eve. We'll find the systems that have the most plexes being run, and we'll spawn the battles in that system. And they won't all be in the same system. They'll spread out a little bit, but they'll be dynamically generated based on the actions of the Eve pilots. When you join these battles, because they're listed in the Battle Finder, the idea here is that you can join with an entire team if you wanted to. You could take 2 squads, 2.5 squads, join them all into one match if it's entirely open. So because of that, the general level of skill in these matches will be above and beyond what you find in instant battles. And hopefully there's always a fight available. So we then end up with this. Corporation battles are now factional warfare battles. They haven't changed a whole lot. Maybe they're a little bit less risky, but hopefully they should be more of a challenge than instant battles. What are we doing in the future then? Where is this going to go? Well, we've built Planetary Conquest. We could go to nullsec. That would be a level on top. Right now in Planetary Conquest, the people that move the clones are NPCs. When we go to nullsec, or if, I don't want to say if, it's generally a when, we want to remove a lot of that stuff. So it'll be a level on top of the current Planetary Conquest. Nullsec might be nice, but what about arena battles? With the removal of, or the change in corporation battles and the introduction of Planetary Conquest, you actually right now have no way to have a friendly battle between two corporations, and not put your district at risk and that sort of thing. And everybody has to be in Planetary Conquest. So arena battles are maybe a way for you to bet on them. They're a way to just have a friendly match between two corporations. So that's a possibility. Depending how horribly you guys break Planetary Conquest, we could also be doing this. Just iterating on the factional warfare and iterating on Planetary Conquest, making them better, building that foundation, and just making it stronger. And I kind of rushed through it because it started late, so I actually have no idea what time it is. But questions, I guess. There's a roundtable later today at 1400 at 2 o'clock. So we will do questions, and we have CCP Nullarbor in the crowd here. He's going to come around and help us with this, help answer some questions. There's a microphone there. Yeah, so if you have any questions, you can come up to the microphone. Nullarbor, there's a microphone there for you.
Hello, testing. Good.
Yeah.
Gerald Holst of Subreddit. One of my bugbears with Dust recently has been the kind of tryhards who just go into a pub match with like your crazy Devolve prototype complex damage mod setups and stomp on all over the people who are using militia gear. And I'm worried that a large percentage of them are going to be more worried about padding their stats and their KD ratio than getting into this. So you've got a nice big carrot out there. So I'm wondering if you're going to have a stick in terms of maybe gear restrictions in the open battles maybe, or something like that.
For instant battle?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something we're considering now. We want to make sure that the instant battles are a safe, friendly environment for people who are new to the game.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of different ideas. We didn't really cover that today, but that's absolutely, we talk about that quite a lot, and hopefully we'll see something very soon that is similar to what you described, and we've got some more longer-term goals with the instant battles do have a matchmaking system behind them, and we're constantly sort of iterating and trying to make that a better system so that you don't get these super awesome organized squads with all the best gear just smashing some guy's first day on Dust. So that's a absolutely valid concern, and we share it, and we're working on it.
Great, thank you.
Hey. For the manufacturing bonus to the passes, generally what's your idea of the percentage of the bonus that you'll get?
We're not quite ready to give that number out yet. We're still tweaking it.
Yeah, we haven't decided.
Any kind of like ball range?
Generally speaking, we want this to be competitive with the nullsec outposts that have a bonus to it. The nullsec outposts are really valuable to nullsec alliances for building dreads and that kind of thing. We want it to be competitive with that, but not to replace it. We don't want it to be, it's not going to be the same level as that, but that's sort of the benchmark we're comparing against.
What we'll be aiming to match is that the value of the Dust battles matches the value of the bonus you would get from it from Eve. Like that can't be completely skewed out of whack, that you get so much from it from Eve that all the money that's spent in Dust is like minuscule and irrelevant. So just balancing that, and that's what we're looking at the moment actually. Except we had a conference to do, so they interfered with that.
Thank you.
No worries.
You mentioned about how, if you've got two corporations fighting, you can take clones of your planet, attack another person's planet. If you're a brand new Dust corporation, how do you gain a district to begin with? How do you invade one?
So I kind of left that out because I thought I was going to run out of time, but clearly I didn't. So if you have, actually it doesn't even matter if you don't have a district anymore, at any time you can go through to a district you own or a district you don't own and buy a clone package from an NPC corp. It is a very expensive package, so it's going to cost a fair bit of money to get into it. Pardon me?
ISK.
Yes, it's 80 million ISK to buy a clone package from an NPC corp, and that'll give you 150 clones to do whatever you want with. You can put them on a district you already own to buff it up. You can attack another district with it, and that's how you'll break in.
Excellent. Thanks.
You can buy as many of those at any time, anywhere. Yeah.
Two questions. First one is, you mentioned right now buying clones, and during the presentation you mentioned selling clones. Are they sold to NPCs, so the prices are set?
Yes, currently the prices are set. We can very easily tweak the price on the back end. It's something we'll be monitoring. We want profitable and valuable, so we'll monitor that price and we'll tweak it as we see fit.
Are you considering on the long term, of course, to make this a kind of a player-driven market?
What we would really like to see is the ability to sell clones just on the open market, so that you can sell them to other corporations in Dust and possibly see them used somewhere in Eve. Eve has clones. Maybe we can use these there and Eve players will care to buy them.
Right. Second question is, this Planetary Conquest bonus, if I understand correctly, will be available only low-sec, basically. They won't be available in nullsec. I cannot build installations in nullsec or in ISEC, of course.
Planetary Conquest will be available in one region, the Molten Heath region.
Oh, or in Molten Heath, all right.
Yeah. Only in Molten Heath.
And we'll be expanding into other low-sec regions if we run out of space, basically, and we'll be monitoring that and rolling out new regions. And we'll give people advance notice of that happening.
Interesting times ahead in Molten Heath, then.
There are indeed.
Vaughn Blackleg, the Circus Corp. As a CEO, I'm concerned that you're going to be putting duties on the CEOs and directors as an Eve Corp, but then we have Dust players in our corporation. Because I was noticing that you had some things where the director or CEO had to do certain activities. I don't want that. I want nothing to do with that. But I have Dust players in my corp.
Yeah.
So how are we going to differentiate that?
So the only way to make these changes to sell clones, all that sort of stuff, is only through the Dust client right now. So it'll have to be a Dust CEO or a Dust director doing it. If you don't have a Dust director or a Dust CEO, you actually can't participate in Planetary Conquest because they can't spend the corporation money to buy the clone starter pack and get into it.
Okay, so will you be making allowances, or is there, because I don't play at all, is there allowances there for me to assign a director to that through my corporation so I can take, so my players can take part?
Yes. In Eve, you can assign a Dust player to be a director. They'll be director in Dust, and they can do all this sort of stuff.
A Dust director will have access to kicking members from the corp and assigning other directors, and that includes from Eve players as well as Dust players. So if you give somebody a director role in Dust, there is a little bit of overlap in the membership management.
That's fine.
Yeah, but they won't have access to the Eve wallet. That's still separate at the moment. They won't have access to be able to do any kind of station management or any of that kind of stuff. They don't have that in Dust. They only then have the director features in Dust. And we will be iterating on all of the corporation roles as soon as we can this year. And we're going to give some more detail specifically for features like this, where you can assign someone to look after the clone manager or the district management for your corporation in Dust.
Okay. Second question, the pause bonuses that you're speaking of being manufacturing and fuel, is that being cumulative to the ones that already have those bonuses, or just to the ones that don't have bonuses?
This only bonuses to fuel and POS is null-sec SOV, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. This isn't low-sec.
Not yet.
Pardon me?
You'll be going null-sec, though, eventually, right?
Yeah, not today.
Yeah, not today, and we'll look at that time.
Okay, cool. Thanks, guys.
So what stops me from using an alt corporation to attack my own district so no one else can attack them?
Yep, you can do that, but if you run the numbers, you'll find you'll end up losing all your clones and your money. So if you can find a way to do that and that works for you, great, and we'll notice and we'll change it so that you can't.
Also, what happens when I don't show up for the fight?
Sorry, say again? Wait.
What happens when I don't show up for the fight?
So if nobody shows up, you will automatically lose, because the other team will just cap all the points and win, and they will lose at least 150 clones, regardless of whether they showed up or not. So if you're being attacked, you at least want to show up for a fight, even if you know you're going to lose. Run militia gear, see if you can get some loot out of the other team if they're running expensive gear, and maybe sort of stop the bleeding, because you'll get 150 clones to burn through anyway. You're going to lose them anyway.
So the defender will still need to show up for the fight?
They don't have to. You could end up with a battle and there's nobody there. You cap the points and then they'll lose 150 clones.
Yes, hello. I'm Lodianes from Norwegian Dust Corporation. I have a question. We have been playing a lot, and we are Medicore Corporation in alliance with very good roots in Eve. I was wondering, you have 10 corporations in Dust that are psycho good. If I get attacked on one of them and they don't have any Eve connection, but I do have the control in the space, can I use this to benefit in the battle, so I can even out the odds? Because if they are psycho good, I can't kill them to get the war points to use the orbital bombardment.
Yeah, so orbital strikes at the moment will be the only way that the Eve guys can assist you during the battle. And you'll still need to earn the war points to do that.
How many?
What is it now? I can't remember. It's
2,500?
2,500? I can't remember. Whatever it is at the moment.
So we have
not
to kill.
checking it.
So I have to do all the logistics to get the Eve players to circle my planets and have the total control. But I have to kill all the psychos to get the war points to use the benefit from the space.
Correct. Although we are discussing if we can change that so that an Eve player arriving at space creates a more immediate response, like immediate action. There should be a benefit that you've made that effort to get them there.
Yeah, because we use a lot of logistics, and we have. I think we're going to have a good control on the space.
Yeah, and we agree. I think that makes sense. So we just need to figure out a way that's not exploitable, too gamey. But if you go next door right now, we've got the joint tournament, and that's sort of more along those lines.
Yeah,
and
I watch that. So, but we should get benefits if we do. Because if I don't have to do it. Because if I can't use it, it's no reason to have the people out.
Exactly, we agree, and we'll probably be iterating on that kind of thing this year.
Looking forward.
Thanks.
Hi, I got two questions. The first one is, the bonuses, are they stackable, or is it that as long as you have one, you get the full effect?
So we're looking at doing it one of two ways. We want you to want more than one of the same district, so there will be stacking. What we're looking at doing is whether do we cap it the number that you have, or do we apply a stacking penalty, just like in Eve. So we're looking at which of those ways do we want to go.
And being a wormhole corporation in Eve, what are the intentions for planets and wormholes? Because it works quite differently than in nullsec and highsec and all the other places.
Yeah, I mean, not yet, and it's just as unknown as nullsec as to when, if and when we put dust there. Yeah. Yeah.
As someone who's, as an Eve player, I feel like the dust connection is still, I know you're still working on it, I know it's still coming along. But I still feel like there's a couple things I want to address. One is, I feel like I never can communicate with Dust players, especially as, I think one of the responses to where can I talk to Dust players was go to their academy planet or something, and I'm a -10 pirate and that doesn't work so well. But I'd like to have Dust players, especially when you start doing this Conquest stuff. So I think, just more like a comment, that rolls into the next question is, ways to get Eve players more involved in that, and this is just a spitballing idea, but maybe we can be moving clones over and stuff like that, and find other ways, because Eve players don't mind doing logistics. We're not FPS players. We'll move shit if it helps win the fight, especially if we're invested in it.
Yeah, no, and so this is something we are actively working on. Our first steps in making this communications and interaction better is we're adding corporation and alliance mail to Dust, and alliance chat, and all those sort of things. And it's something we do need to work on. Is Eve players need to be able to find Dust players because they're, generally speaking, people find each other in Dust through fighting, through the battles. So it's something we need to look at, and we are looking at, is building that, the ability to find other people.
Yeah, and I'm going to walk away with this comment, but just logistics stuff for Eve players, I think is cool. So
we agree. We want to see Eve players moving the clones in their spaceships. That just makes a lot of sense, right? So, yeah.
So tying into that last question, I was wondering, when you're transferring clones between two different star systems, is there a delay involved, or is it instantaneous at the moment through the interface?
Yeah, so you saw through the timelines, you'll see that the clones will be there, and that's important because if somebody else is sort of, if you moved your clones there and somebody attacks you, they need to know that those clones are en route because that's what they'll have when they go to fight you. But there is the delays. It'll be 24 hours and then the next reinforce until they're actually sort of technically there. So yeah, there is travel time involved. But it's the same regardless of the distance. Yeah.
Hi, I got confused by one of the answers you just gave, that a Dust director can appoint a director, because that is a restricted CEO thing in Eve currently. There is no grantable
That's a good question, I can't remember.
This is why I looked at you, I was like, really?
There is no director grantable role that a director has.
Yeah.
I'm not holding
you
it
might be
against
right,
you
actually.
if you are confused by the corp management
Yes.
menu. Most people are.
Nice.
So that would be a fundamental break in the current status quo for corp management.
We haven't changed it.
Yeah, I think you're actually correct. Yes.
We haven't changed it.
Hi. Couple of questions. If you have a multiple districts and they get attacked at the same time, and you don't have people to defend them at the same time, can you hire a bunch of people to defend them?
So when you go to join a battle as a squad leader, you can fill your squad with people not from your corporation, and they can still join, and they'll come along with you into this battle. So if you know other Dust players, you can invite them along. We don't have any sort of contract system where you can say, I need people to defend my district, I'll give you X amount of money. We don't have that yet. It's something we're talking about and do want at some point.
If you have a squad with other corp, people from a different corp, and you pull them into your corp battle and you win, they will get part of the ISK reward that gets handed out as well. So there is a sort of an incentive, like a financial incentive to other people fighting on behalf of your corporation in the corp battle. Subcontracting is on the roadmap. We want that as well. We want to see corporations in Dust that are purely mercenary. They don't own the districts. They just go for the highest bidder, and players can sort of arrange that themselves. Yeah.
Second question is, can we have a shooting range or something to try a weapon before we can?
After this, there's a talk about advancing the core with CCP Praetorian, I think, is giving that. There's a couple of guys. I believe they're looking at stuff like that. That's not so much the sort of the Conquest battle side of thing, just more like a testing facility. So ask them about that. They may have some more details.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Hi, I just want to know if you can blow up these clone convoys before they reach the planet?
No, but if they were in an Eve spaceship, then yes. So that's why we're excited about doing that. Yes.
So currently they just kind of teleported from one planet to the other planet?
Yeah, it's indestructible cloaked MTCs, so you don't see them. They're really good at delivery, but they charge a fortune for it, so yeah.
Okay.
So I've got two small follow-ups. The first one is, if my corp pounces on an open district that nobody's claimed yet, do we just take it automatically?
Yes.
Second one, will MCCs ever be a corporate asset that if it gets blown up, that's it, you've lost 100 million ISK or whatever?
Again, the next talk, they're going to be discussing about where Dust is going once you're on the ground in the battle, and there are absolutely plans to expand the gameplay modes. We're looking at bringing back old school skirmish with their attack and the defender, and we'd love to pick that up for Planetary Conquest because that just aligns a lot better with the style of play, and definitely bigger maps and more sort of tactical, arrangement and ownership of stuff. That's all stuff that those guys are looking at. So, yeah.
Hi. In factional warfare, there's one thing that sucked. You cannot choose the region or the planet you attack right now. If there is, in the next expansion, uprising, is there any possibility to have factional warfare in near Galaxy space, please?
So you can, actually, right now. You just have to keep refreshing the page, and it's annoying, and we know, and we're sorry. But with this next one, you can control it in Eve. If you go to a system, if you want to take that system, you have Eve pilots there. If they capture plexes, battles will start spawning there, and that applies for attack and defense plexing.
And the battle keep running for a long time, or
it depends also on how many people are playing in Dust. We'll add more battles as we need based on the people in Dust, and the location will be based on the Eve players. And if all the Eve players move and start plexing somewhere else, then those battles, once they finish, then they'll start spawning in the new location. And we'll be adjusting the times and all the numbers behind that, how that works. So if you've got, once you start playing this, if you've got some feedback about how that's exactly working, like give us, do a forum thread and let us know.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
No.
I suck. You still owe me a drink. Anyway, I just wanted to say hi. Not really. At the moment, you mentioned that fights are limited to 16 versus 16 battles. Do you ever plan to expand on that and make it a larger scope of eventually maybe having 30-30 or anything
So
along those lines?
there's two parts to this. The one part is technical. We want these battles to be as big as possible, and so we could actually go a little bit bigger right now, but we specifically chose not to. We want this feature to be accessible to as many people as possible. The more people we require for a battle, the more people corporations have to have available and ready to go, which means the fewer corporations that can actually participate in this. So we looked at the numbers, we looked at how many people are in the average corporation, all that sort of stuff, and picked 16.
What we may see in the future is if we get more larger maps and potentially smaller ones as well, we may change up that the districts themselves have different sized battles, and you can take ones that are more tailored to the size of your corp, or the infrastructure you install may dictate that. So creating more accessibility for the smaller corps and for the bigger corps, and sort of picking which one suits your style and how many people you've got. That's an interesting thing that we'll probably end up playing with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, you mentioned it is just temperate planets at the moment that you can
Yes.
fight at. Do you have a plan to expand to having other planets like, you have lava planets, you'll have a lava environment fight kicking
We'll
off?
kind of go wherever they give us art assets to go.
Yeah, that's more based on what the levels we get. I think last FanFest we had some cool concept art of lava planets, and it's all vehicles and stuff. It looks really cool. We're all excited about that, but that's more. We need the ground battle to support that first, and when that's available, absolutely, we'll put that on all the other planets if we get them.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right now, if I go hit a planet and it's, say, Adalol 7, would I be able to plant a flag on it and claim it as the Republic of Gerald?
Sorry, I don't quite understand. Say again?
Could I name a planet?
Can you name a planet?
If I took a planet, could I name it after me?
Can you name it some spoiler from Game of Thrones?
Maybe. So, can I take a planet and name it Snape Kills Dumbledore?
So, personally, I really, really want to see something like that, but I want it to be a little bit more effort than just, I happen to take all the districts. We want that to be something really special, so it's something we want, but we're not there yet.
We may have, you capture the whole planet, we'll let you name it. We may have one district that's more important than the others, you capture that, and it's sort of like the political center, but yeah, something along those lines sounds pretty cool. Yeah.
Cool.
Are we done?
I don't know, I
Early.
completely lost track of that.
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
done.
we have to go out.
Sweet.
Cool.
Cool. Thank you very much,
everyone.
guys. Oh, wait, this way.